In a small village nestled along a vibrant blue coastline, where the sound of waves caressing the shore was like the steady breath of the ocean, lived a boy with a rich inner world and eloquent eyes. He didn't find joy in the boisterous, noisy games of the other children. Instead, he would often sit quietly alone on the rocky outcrop jutting out into the sea, for hours on end immersed in the vast and mysterious beauty of the ocean. For him, the sea wasn't just a majestic natural scene, but also a silent friend, a patient teacher, listening to and understanding every nuance of emotion in his young heart. One day the sky, as blue as a silken cloth, suddenly changed color. Dark, heavy clouds laden with moisture slowly rolled in, obscuring the radiant sun, casting an unsettling, eerily quiet feeling. The wind began to rise, at first just gentle breezes stirring the trees, but quickly becoming strong and fierce, whistling like the roar of a giant beast. The usually calm, gentle waves now turned ferocious, roaring as they crashed onto the sandy shore, spraying white foam like sharp fangs. Everyone in the village, from the seasoned fishermen to the frail old people, hurried to find shelter, anxiously watching the fury of nature as it gradually took shape. But the boy wasn't afraid. He remained standing on his familiar rocky perch, his eyes wide, not leaving the raging natural scene. In his eyes there was no panic, but instead a sense of awe, curiosity, and seemingly a deep empathy with the extraordinary power unfolding before him. He felt the anger, the violence, but hidden within, he also sensed a latent beauty, a fierce life force surging from the storm. The whistling wind was like cries of lament, the roaring waves like angry growls, all blending together to create a fierce symphony of nature. That night, the boy tossed and turned, unable to sleep. The image of the storm haunted his mind, replaying endlessly like a slow-motion film. The wind whistling as it tore through the night, the waves crashing thunderously against the rocks, the pitch-black sky ripped apart by jagged lightning strikes. All were etched deep into his eyes, engraved in his young heart. He felt a strange urge, a compelling need to express, to release the chaotic emotions surging within him. He wanted to capture that moment, both terrifying and magnificent, to preserve it forever. The next morning, when the storm had subsided and the sky gradually cleared, weak rays of sunlight began to pierce through the lingering clouds. The boy quietly brought out an old wooden plank he had found on the beach after a previous storm, along with some black charcoal sticks. He found a quiet spot on the damp sand, his eyes intently fixed on the still turbulent sea. Then his small hands, trembling yet determined, began to move across the wood. Dark charcoal strokes gradually appeared, sometimes strong and decisive, like the slashes of a sword, sometimes soft and flowing like the caressing waves. He drew the storm not as a dry, superficial copy of what his eyes had seen, but as an emotional recreation, a profound interpretation of what his heart had felt. In his drawing, the sky wasn't just a lifeless black expanse. It was a deep, fathomless black, mysterious, holding anger and secrecy, but hidden within the dark and light charcoal strokes flickered weak glimmers of hope, like stars hidden behind storm clouds. The waves weren't just crooked, lifeless lines. They were colossal masses of water roaring, churning, rising like solid fortress walls, carrying destructive power, but also exuding a wild primal beauty. The wind wasn't just slanted, aimless scratches. It was an invisible force howling, shaking everything, bending the trees, whipping up sand, carrying both fear and a strangely liberating, unrestrained feeling. The boy drew with all his heart, with all the most delicate vibrations that the storm had stirred in his soul. The drawing wasn't just an image of a violent storm, but also his inner voice, a deep resonance between a small soul and the extraordinary power of nature. It was a silent understanding between him and the storm, a wordless dialogue that only emotions could express. As the drawing neared completion, the villagers, curious about the boy's unusual behavior, began to gather to watch. They were surprised to see that a usually quiet, reserved boy could create such a powerful and haunting work. They saw in the drawing not only the image of the storm with its destruction and chaos, but also felt its ferocity, its anger, while also perceiving a strange beauty, a latent life force, a power of rebirth after destruction. An old woman with snow-white hair and kind eyes that had witnessed many of life's trials and tribulations quietly leaned on her cane and watched the drawing for a long time. The wrinkles on her face softened, a gentle smile appearing on her lips. She said softly, her voice warm and deep, "In the storm, we only see destruction and fear. But through your drawing, I see both its power and its beauty. Your eyes saw what my old heart missed. You have drawn both the roar of the ocean and the stillness after the thunder." The old woman's words were like an awakening, touching the hearts of many standing around. They began to see the storm not just as a disaster, a punishment of nature, but as an indispensable part of life, an expression of cosmic power, a necessary cleansing for renewal. And through the boy's drawing, they learned to perceive the things around them with different eyes, with a broader and more understanding heart. They realized that in every difficulty, every challenge, there are always valuable lessons and hidden beauties. From then on, the boy often sat by the sea and drew. He drew the gentle waves caressing the shore, the seagulls soaring freely in the deep blue sky, the sailboats catching the wind and heading out to sea, the weathered faces of the brave fishermen. Each of his drawings contained a story, a genuine emotion, a unique and humane perspective on the world around him. He didn't just draw what he saw, but also what he felt, what he pondered about life and people. Gradually, the boy's drawings became known not only in the small village, but also spread to other lands. People from everywhere sought him out, not just to admire his unique and vibrant artwork, but also to listen to the stories hidden behind each stroke, to seek empathy and understanding in their own souls. They realized that through the clear eyes and sensitive heart of the boy, the world became more alive, more meaningful, and more worthy of cherishing than ever before. The boy who drew the storm that year grew up to become a true artist, a gifted storyteller using images. His works touched the hearts of viewers not only with their outward beauty, but also with their emotional depth, the subtlety in every line, and the meaningful, humanistic messages they conveyed. He taught everyone that even in things that seem the worst, there are always hidden beauties, valuable qualities worth cherishing, if only we have enough sensitivity and a heart that can resonate to recognize them. And above all, the story of the boy who drew the storm became a testament to the miraculous power of art. It can help us see the world differently, connect with the deepest emotions in our souls, overcome invisible barriers, and find meaning in even the seemingly harshest aspects of life. The boy of that year, with his open heart and talented hands, had drawn not just a violent storm, but also hope, empathy, and love in the hearts of everyone. That drawing of the storm, in the end, became a symbol of the power of creativity and the healing capacity of art.